Did you know that over 90% of millionaires have real estate as part of their portfolio? And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact strategies and things that you need to know about how to be able to go ahead and structure your real estate and how many LLCs do you need when it comes to real estate investing. So the first thing you need to understand is what is an LLC. So an LLC is considered a limited liability company. And why is that important for you as a real estate investor? So having an LLC, a limited liability company, is going to provide you legal protection in the event that someone tries to sue your business. And this is actually going to be really important for you if you're investing in real estate, because if you have a tenant that slips and falls into that real estate property, they can actually come after your personal assets, which is going to be your house, your car, and a whole bunch of other personal assets that you do not want to be liable for if someone tries to sue you. And setting up an LLC is actually pretty easy. You can go ahead and get that registered with the Secretary of State. I have a video over here that talks more about it. But in the meantime, what you want to know is having that LLC is going to give you that protection, and it's also going to be able to really make sure that your business is structured properly and the right way. Not only that, you're also able to go ahead and be able to qualify for business funding and business credit. So as you continue to increase your portfolio and continue to build your wealth, you're gonna have more opportunities to be able to do more with those LLCs. Also, later on in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you some of the tax benefits of being able to have this LLC, what it can do for yourself and your business. Now moving on to the next concept. So now that you understand what an LLC is, what different types of LLCs do you need to create? And believe it or not, there's actually a lot of LLCs and there's a lot of things to consider depending on where you're currently at with your real estate investment journey or where you're looking to go in the future. So number one, the first approach that you can go ahead and take is just go ahead and create one LLC, okay? And this is probably gonna be the easiest approach. This is probably gonna be the approach that you're probably gonna start off with if you're just getting into real estate, but it's gonna be really important for you to do that, again, to give you that legal protection in the event that someone tries to sue you. So some of the pros of this is that it's simpler to go ahead and set up, and it gives you low administrative costs. So it's not really expensive depending on the state that you live in. It could be a couple $100s, but again, you wanna make sure you check with your state because an LLC is going to be registered with your state. One of the disadvantages of just having a single LLC is that if you have more than one property, then you're gonna be at risk, and that is why I'm going to move on to the next thing that you need to understand is having multiple LLCs. The next approach here is going to be the multiple LLC strategy. And with this strategy, now you are creating multiple LLCs, different LLCs for the different properties. So now each property and each LLC is going to have its isolated liability in the event that someone tries to sue it. So if you happen to have 5 properties, for instance, and you have 5 different LLCs for those properties, let's say property number 4, for instance, has an issue, someone tries to sue you. Well, now if you only had all the properties into one LLC, they can come after all of the properties and everything under the LLC. Now by having multiple LLCs, LLC number 4 is going to be responsible for being able to take on any type of legal action that happens. So one of the downsides of having multiple LLCs is now you're going to have to file a lot more registrations for your LLCs, which is going to add up in fees, okay? So again, depending on your situation, it will be beneficial for you because now your LLCs are gonna be protected, but just know that it's going to require more maintenance and really making sure that you're keeping track of everything. Another bonus tip that you need to be aware of is that the Corporate Transparency Act was just released. And one bonus tip to keep in mind as well is that by being a business owner, by having an LLC, you now have to maintain what's called the BOI report, the Beneficial Ownership Information Act. I have a link in the description below that explains all about it, and you can go ahead and check out that video. And one thing to know about this, if you're not compliant with this and you're not going ahead and filling this out for each LLC, then you could face up to 2 years of prison time or up to $10,000 per LLC, which can be extremely expensive, and it's not something that you want to deal with. So that is one of the risks by having multiple LLCs, okay? It's just going to require more compliance and really making sure that you are organized. One of the things I recommend you doing if you're just starting off, a really simple way to do is making sure that you're having and keeping track of those LLCs in a spreadsheet. That's going to allow you to be able to see everything in one place, and it's really going to keep you organized, really keep you accountable, and that's what's going to keep you compliant throughout the years. So moving on to the next approach is what's going to be called series LLCs. And series LLCs is a little bit more complex, it's a little bit more of an advanced strategy, and I'm going to break that down and tell you exactly what that is. But before I get into that, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button and smash that like button if you've been getting value. So let's go into the series LLC. So the series LLC is basically a single LLC that allows you to have multiple series or multiple cells of LLCs within one LLC. And each series within the series LLC has its own liabilities and it has its own assets. So it's almost like you're being able to have multiple LLCs, but it's really just up under one LLC. So it's like a holding company, for instance. So you may have heard the term holding company, parent company. It's a very similar concept, and that's what a series LLC allows you to do. Some of the pros of this is it's a little bit more flexible. It's a more of a streamlined approach, so you don't necessarily have to maintain as much documentation to maintain and keep track of a whole bunch of LLCs. The downside of it is that it is a little bit more complex to maintain and it's not recognized in every state, okay? So you want to make sure that you are checking up with your state and seeing if series LLC is an option for you in your state. So let's get into the tax considerations and things to understand as it relates to your taxes. So when it comes to real estate, there's different types of real estate you can get into. You have wholesaling, you have fix and flips, you have buy and holds, you have short-term rentals. There's all these different types of ways to be able to do real estate, and you want to make sure that you are structuring things correctly in order to be able to maximize your opportunity. So as it relates to real estate, I like to separate these into two different categories. You have what is called active real estate, and that's when you're actively working in the business. So as you know, if you're in wholesaling, that is a little bit more of an active participation in order for you to be able to do that. As it relates to wholesaling, you're responsible for actively managing the business. It's not passive income, okay? It actually requires you to do some work, and that is what's going to be on the wholesaling side. If you are doing fix and flips, that's also going to be considered active because you are actively participating in generating that income for that fix and flip business versus more of a passive when you just have maybe like a long-term buy and hold strategy or putting tenants into a property. That's a little bit more passive. And why is this important for you to know? So the IRS actually categorizes income in different classes, and as it relates to real estate, you have active income, you have passive income, and depending on your income class, it's going to impact how you're going to structure this LLC. So let's say, for instance, you're on the active side of wholesaling fix and flips. Well, one of the things that you can do, and one of the things for you to be aware of, is now, because it's considered active income, now you're going to be responsible for what's called self-employment tax. And self-employment tax is 15.3%. So you're going to have to pay 15.3% on the profit that you make in this business. So let's say you're getting into wholesaling, and let's say the profit of that wholesaling business is $100,000. That means you have to pay $15,300 in taxes on the profit of the business. Insane, okay? So that is literally destroying and eating up your wealth. But one of the things that you can do when it comes to active income is by going ahead and structuring what's called an S corporation. I have a whole video, and I'll link it down below, that breaks down exactly why you need to go ahead and structure and get an S corporation. But real quick, I want to let you know, by having an S corporation, what it allows you to do is, instead of having to pay 15.3% on the profit of the business, now you're paying 15.3% to the salary that you pay yourself through your business. And this is going to be really important for you if you have this active income. Now, on the passive side of things, you don't necessarily need to worry about self-employment income because that's considered passive income. So that's going to be a whole different situation over there. So with those, just by having an LLC, you're going to be in good shape there. So that is not anything for you to worry about. The next thing that you need to know about understanding how to go ahead and structure your real estate portfolio is making sure that you are compliant, okay? So as I mentioned, depending on the state, depending on where you're located, there's gonna be different laws, regulations, so you always wanna make sure you're working with a professional. One of the professionals I recommend you reaching out to is an attorney, of course, an attorney that has experience in real estate. So not all attorneys are the same and they have the same experience. So you wanna make sure that you specialize and work with someone that actually has an understanding of real estate, because that's really going to make a huge difference and making sure that they're up to date on the laws and regulations. The next thing you want to consider doing is making sure you're working with a tax strategist or tax professional that understands real estate. And that's one of the things that I specialize in and really help people understand is the different benefits of real estate. Not only do I have a real estate portfolio, but I also am familiar with all the different tax strategies as it relates to real estate, which leads me to my next point. So far, I talked about the importance of having the LLC with the real estate and how many LLCs that you need to have when it comes to your real estate portfolio. And I have so much more details I want to share with you about the different tax strategies as it relates to real estate. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and check out this video over here. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video talking about the tax benefits of having real estate. See you next time. Peace.